And welcome everybody to the Daily Space Weather. Today we're going to be talking about how a sunspot appears with no warning. Superionic water, Pennsylvania goes green, and we'll be showing you a smAshlight. I'm your host Dan, aka smAsho, starting things out looking at the sun here in 94 angstroms. Sunspot 2766 has formed near the the western limb there. We'll show you more in-depth close-ups of that. After this plays through one more time. And by the way, we are streaming live to Twitch, as we do most days, twitch.tv/smAsho. Let's take a look at the fields here. And this is that sunspot region right there. And it is a small alpha class sunspot, not expected to produce many flares, if any. It's small and only has one field umbra. And there's the view in 304 and 171 angstroms composite. KP index has dropped back down to 0, dropping down from 2. And the 10.7 centimeter radial flux has come back up to 69 solar flux units. Also looking at Comet Neowise here. I saw some ridiculous videos on the internet yesterday about this. People see a comet and they don't know what it is. One thing I would note is its shape. I mean, the thing looks like it's shaped like a rectangle practically, or a trapezoid. Quite odd. Moving on. Here's the sunspot progression, and it's down here where my pointer is. Not to be confused with this magnetic region up here. And honestly, not a great view of it. Let's look at some more data. Like the real-time solar wind, which is very low. Solar wind density, 1.5 protons per cubic centimeter. Phi angle currently at 124 degrees, and solar wind speed 342 kilometers per second. No spikes in the GOES proton flux. No surprise there. And we don't see any flaring in terms of X-ray photons. Next, looking at the GOES magnetometer. It's fairly smooth here. We are solidly remaining in the South Pole-oriented current sheet, as I forecasted yesterday. We'll show you it. First, let's look at the line of sight field plot, showing the North Solar Polar Field in green, South in red, and the B field in blue. And you will see a slight perturbation in the B field here right at the end of the movie. And that has to do with Sunspot 2766. Will it remain a sunspot long enough to be named? It'll have to be in place for 12 hours or more in order to be named. And we see some activity there out facing stereo A. For you new viewers, this is stereo A out here. And this is stereo B right here. And that stands for ahead and behind, because stereo A sees solar weather activity before the Earth does, and stereo B sees it after the sun activity has set. The solar activity, when it sets, stereo B can see it for longer than we can from Earth, obviously, so it's behind in terms of the solar weather, the space weather. Keep in mind that data is 1 hour and 3 minutes old and can change with no warning. We are expecting to be in the North Pole current sheet once again within the next 36 hours, assuming nothing changes, and it can instantly. As we've showed you, a sunspot. Things change magnetically with 0 warning. Next, we're going to look at geospace magnetosphere movies here, both in terms of density and pressure, as we see such a low density solar wind, and you can see that coming in from the left of your screen there in light colors. High density is shown in dark blue on this magnetosphere movie, and that's 4 hours of data. magnetohydrodynamic density. Here's the pressure. You're going to see a very low pressure, as we see a fairly slow solar wind speed and a very low solar wind density. A couple additional Van Allen belts showing up there on the noon-midnight meridional plane view, which is this one over here. So a weak solar wind and a small uptick in solar activity at the same time. Next, let's look at ground magnetic perturbations. And we see some over the geomagnetic Canadian North Pole, as well as the geomagnetic Siberian North Pole, as well as the South Pole, which has left the Antarctic continent into the southern Indian Ocean. Were you aware? It's called a polar excursion. And there's 4 hours of data. I moved that forward because it refreshed, unfortunately, once again. There's 4 hours of data, courtesy University of Michigan. We see very low levels of electron flux, and you can see they've been ramping down, down, down for about 8 months now. And here's the GOES electron flux data. A little bit higher than it's been, but still very low, very cratered. And I wouldn't be surprised to see this make it up to warning levels once again. But an oddity in terms of how many electrons we're seeing, a very, very low number of electrons. And we're seeing some anomalies at nighttime here over, I believe, over Mexico and the Caribbean. You can see that anomaly right there over the South Atlantic, as well as over Central America there. Otherwise, fairly normal, and don't expect to see big errors on your GPSs today, unless this electron flux level changes. And here's just the ionosphere layer. The last pane was actually the entire air column. Here's just the ionosphere, and it's looking pretty anomalous once again here. A little on the wobbly side, and a large discharged area at nighttime. Not particularly surprising considering how low the density of the solar wind. And there you can see the current image is 8:15 universal time. Looking fairly normal there. Here's a star chart, and we made the video at 4:29 a.m. We like to use in-the-sky.org for that. And if you get up before dawn, you should be able to see Jupiter and Saturn and Mars. Jupiter will be very close in the sky to Saturn. Mars closer to the ecliptic apex, and Venus rising before the sun. If you've got a low horizon and a view of the ecliptic, go check that out before sunrise, the third brightest object in the sky. Here's where things are located in the solar system. There's where they'll be in 1 week as we move into the Jupiter oppositional conjunctive zone. I can never remember if it's a conjunction or an opposition. Please let us know in the comments if you know the difference. There's where things will be on July 2nd. And shout out to Be Stoic. Now, we put up a video about how new research reveals how water in the deep earth triggers earthquakes and tsunamis. Well, it might be a lot weirder than you think. So this article here about superionic ice, as well as this one about planet formation, they're both related. And I'll tell you what, some weird stuff going on there. And for that, we thank you, Be Stoic. Check it out. This article is about remaking a planet one atom at a time. And check it out at smashomash.com/forum. There is a forum specifically in there for Earth and geophysics. We've linked to both articles. And you can copy paste the entire articles in there if you want, Be Stoic. That's fine. Just give a credit. So, yeah. Black hot ice may be what is inside of planets, at least the frozen icy gas giant type planets like Uranus, and Neptune. So check it out. Scientists have compressed some water and were very surprised at what they find. So this new phase of water with bizarre properties, unlike the familiar ice found in your freezer or at the North Pole, Superionic ice is black and hot. A cube of it would weigh 4 times as much as a normal ice cube. And while this was theoretically predicted more than 30 years ago, it's been seen recently in a laboratory. So it really is a new state of matter. It creates an atomic lattice structure inside of it, and it causes liquid metallic hydrogen to be floating around in there. It's quite weird. It behaves like it has magnetic and conductive properties. The oxygen atoms form a cube lattice, but the hydrogen atoms spill free, flowing like a liquid through the rigid cage of oxygen. Very strange. Very strange. So it looks like there may be more states of matter than we realize, and it's looking more and more like, guess what? Plasma doesn't make up most of the universe. Sorry to tell you, but we're excited about this, as the suggested superionic ice would conduct electricity like a metal, with the hydrogens playing the usual role of electrons. Having these loose hydrogen atoms gushing around would also boost the ice's disorder or entropy. In turn, that increase in entropy would make the ice much more stable than other kinds of ice crystals, causing its melting point to soar upward. So please read the article if you haven't yet. Black hot ice may be nature's most common form of water. Pretty funky, huh? Funky fresh, you could say, to quote Run DMC. Let's check out earthquakes over the past 24 hours as we've transitioned in an appropriate segue here. Let's see what's happened over the past 24. And by the way, there's been a 6+ magnitude in China. We'll get to it in a minute. First, we're just going to scroll up the list here. A couple 5 magnitude quakes kicking off here, one of which is in Western South America. A very deep quake near Fiji at a 4.5 magnitude. It's over 560 kilometers depth. Here's a deep quake at Argentina, just to the east of that 5+ magnitude. 2 quakes out toward Easter Island, which, by the way, this is one of the most desolate spots in the whole world right here, folks. This area west of South America, there is a heap and help and a nothing down there. Easter Island, one of the weirder places on Earth. And another deep quake hitting Tonga. That one came in at 2032 last night. It's a 4.3 magnitude at over 300 kilometers depth. And 33 minutes later, we see this 6.4 kick off in China. Yes, folks, that earthquake was made in China, just south of the Kunlun Mountains in China. It's a 6.4 magnitude quake, the largest of the past 24. And we see a ton of aftershocks there, no real surprise. Another deep quake strikes Japan. It's a 4.2 magnitude at 484.5 kilometers depth. There's a quake quite far south near the South Sandwich Islands. It's a 5.3 magnitude. Here's another deep quake at the Kermadec Islands, north of New Zealand, in that oceanic rift zone there near the plate boundary between the Australian plate and the Pacific plate. Another deep quake at Wallis and Futuna near Tonga and Fiji. It's a 4.4 magnitude at 432 kilometers depth. And just a little while ago, we see a 4.2 kicking off at El Salvador, so a Central American quake there. It's at 174 kilometers. Check it out, it's a Bico. And is it flying like a phoenix? Like what? Is it rising like a phoenix from Arizona? No, it's flying like some kind of a vulture or something from Paramushir Island, where a Bico is producing a 10,000-foot plume of ash in its very active state. Semeru also erupting, flight level 13,000 there. Dacono erupting, exploding indeed, flight level 7,000 there. Revenador, volcanic ash not observed. And Sabancaya is exploding. It's producing a flight level of 24,000. Please do not attempt to jump your unicycle over Sabancaya. It could prove unhealthful. Next, looking at pressure cells here on windy.com, who also has a great free mobile app, windy.com's mobile app. It could save you bacon. It could forecast weather. And what we're doing is letting this advance into the GFS forecast. Here's where we expect things to be at 1300, 1 p.m. my time. And again, thanks all you new viewers out there. We are located in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, about 12 miles from the New Jersey border. Next, looking at nullschool.net to look at the jet streams of the Western world. There you have those, and man, oh man, are they all over the place. Look at these jets here moving south-southwest, jets moving directly south, jet stream level air moving east to west. So, yeah, that's extreme meridional jet stream flow. Look at how incoherent the jet stream is over the eastern U.S. Here are the jets of the eastern world. A little more coherent, but I would note, again, lots of air moving east to west over here, which is not normal, and is probably going to make for some violent conditions. Let's look at the water vapor maps of Africa and Europe. How about the water vapor maps of the Far East and Oceania? Before we move on, I just want to check and see if everything is going according to plan, and indeed it is. Next is lightningmaps.org. We always like to see where the lightning's striking and show you in real time. It gives you some idea of where storms are. And shout out to Des Moines and Minneapolis. Hey, Minneapolis. Head outside and look to the south. You may see some sprites or something. Waterloo, Manchester, Cedar Rapids. There's thunder rolling in. As well as over east of Sioux Falls, Brookings, lightningmaps.org. It is good times. Last time I heard thunder, I used it. And a record-breaking lightning bolt has been measured at Brazil, yes. 700-kilometer-long mega flash talked about today on phys.org in the Earth section, as the phys.org Earth section does not contain only charticles. It was on Halloween in 2018, and that lightning bolt was the equivalent of the distance between Washington D.C. and Boston. And it lasted for a full 16.73 seconds. So that's a pretty extreme lightning right there. And I'll just let the article scroll here so you can read it without heading to phys.org. Excuse me. Next, looking at the U.S. Doppler radar map to see a suddenly forming band of storms there over eastern Iowa and northwestern Illinois. Otherwise, not too much activity there in the U.S. Here's a water vapor map to give you an idea what's going on with those storms if you're located in those areas. And shout out to our Iowan viewers. And we're going to zoom in on that area. Right in the middle of Iowa here, we'll zoom in to show you a little more detail on that system. And let's see, it's actually moving. It's going to actually make a slight turn to the south here, folks. If you're on the Great Lakes, if you're on Lake Michigan, expect the pressure to be dropping already as that approaches. And there you can see some sudden cloud nucleation forming right there. And let's talk about smAshlights. Now, we've got a playlist called smAshlights on YouTube, as we've been getting requests to do all kinds of different things and not do this and to do that and to not do this and to do that, and do this and don't do that and don't do this and do that and so on. So welcome to today's smAshlights section, where we talk about whatever we want, whether or not it's space weather. First of all, head to smashamash.com/forum. Set yourself up a login if you want to contribute. Perhaps you want to hear about COVIDiots. We've got a whole section about it in the General Science Forum. Or perhaps you'd like to hear about Google. We've got all kinds of stuff in there. Let's talk about COVID and how it's made in China. Now, a lot of our viewers have learned how to say China. It's spelled C-H-I-D-A. China. C-H-I-D-A. China. It's where COVID's made, COVID-19's made, okay? It's China. And if you want to say China like Trump, here's the way to do it. You want to say it like you have sinusitis. You got to talk out of only the top half of your face. So act like you have a sinus infection. Make sure your voice doesn't come from deep within your gut, but up for the top of your face, and say China, China, the paper tiger, China, China. Let's talk about Dr. Fauci. And to quote Stu Burgier of The Blaze, "Shut up, Fauci. Fauci, shut up." Dr. Fauci is an immunologist specializing in vaccines, not an epidemiologist, as correctly cited by Tony Heller. So I don't know why Fauci keeps opening his face, as he's causing the economic disaster of COVID-19 to be worse in the U.S. So we respectfully request that you shut your face, Dr. Fauci. You won't hear me say shut your face very much, as I am a free speech activist. But in this case, it's probably smart. Now let's talk about Tony Heller, one of my favorite YouTube channels, as he cites these things known as facts.
This is Tony Heller from Real Climate Science.
So he's been debunking all kinds of nonsense. Let's talk about debunking Dr. Fauci. Since throughout this entire scamdemic, we have had the ability to cherry pick any piece of data and basically prove any premise that we felt like, just by taking a little cherry picked piece of data. Here's a quote from Tony.
Park here in Wyoming burned up. Hansen made some very specific predictions.
He's talking about debunking James Hansen, one of the original NASA climate alarmists. Here's another quote.
One is from last year. The graphs at the top show inpatient census in 2019 and 2020.
Anyway, watch the video from Tony Heller. It's called, notice how he gets a global warming thumbnail down there. 32 years of expert testimony, highly recommended. Basically every video that Tony puts out. Let's talk about COVIDiots. Now, Dr. Rachel Levine is not qualified to tell me anything about infectious diseases. However, Dr. Rachel Levine has Pennsylvania in a state of despair. Now, the Lehigh Valley and all counties, I think, except for Lebanon County, are moving into the green phase. So today, starting at midnight, we had the green phase. Well, a lot have happened between now and mid-March, when everything stopped. Going to the mall, getting a haircut, grabbing dinner with family and friends. Staying home has taken an economic and emotional toll on all of us. Friday, the day that may have looked forward to green light from Harrisburg, partially reopened. What does that mean? All businesses that were at 50% occupancy in the yellow phase can now increase to 75% occupancy, as if the government has anything to do with what you do with your business. gyms, spas, theaters, malls, and casinos can open at 50% occupancy. Salons reopen too by appointment only. Restaurants can open back up after a month of just offering curbside and outside dining. Aladdin Restaurant, where you can see live belly dancers in a few weeks in Allentown, has been preparing for this day. Now, I don't know why you'd want to see live belly dancers while you're eating. It sounds like a stupid idea. But we're going to have all of our tables 6 feet apart. All of the staff will be wearing masks, says Samantha Yarns, the restaurant's manager. Well, congratulations, everybody. The government has told you you're allowed to open back up to 75% capacity. I encourage you all to open up to 125% capacity to make up for the government-induced nonsense that has your businesses shattered. Let's talk about an Australian ski resort town where nearly half of people tested for antibodies have antibodies to SARS-CoV-2. What does this mean? Well, 42.4% of people living in Ischgl, a Tyrolean alpine town in Austria, a ski town. It's kind of important. Well, guess what? Only 15% of respondents had previously tested positive for the virus, so 85% didn't know they were infected. Why is that? Because most people that get COVID, that is COVID-19 or the SARS-CoV-2, don't see any symptoms, or the symptoms are so mild that they don't even particularly notice anything has happened. So here's an article. It's from phys.org, and if you go to phys.org, if you type in medicalexpress.com, it'll redirect you. But if you link to an article from phys.org, you can click on Medical Express and it'll show you all the articles there. And so we just decided to pick up that one. Since so many people have antibodies and so many people showed zero symptoms, another indication that it's not particularly dangerous, especially if you're healthy people, something we've been saying on smashamash.com/forum in public since January 23rd. Sometimes it sucks being right over and over again. Let's talk about Instagram. Now, I am on Instagram, and one of the people that I follow there is local pro cyclist Colleen Kulik, Gulik11. And we're looking to do a video with Colleen later, possibly today. She's also the owner of Podium Sports LLC, which you can visit at podiumsports.org, along with her co-coach, Gil Hatton, otherwise known as Gibby the Bear Hatton. Now, Colleen is promoting a race here, which will occur in a 4-race criterium series, the Pickle Juice July Race Series, in Royersford, Pennsylvania on July 5th, 11th, 18th, and 25th. 8 categories of racing each day. And here's the flyer for that. It is on Bike Reg. So if you want to go watch some bike racing, Pottstown, PA is the place to go see it. Here are the categories. And we'll be talking to Colleen about things like constant glucose monitoring, endocrinology, which is her area of specialty, as she is in school to become a physician. If you enjoy the content on YouTube, please don't forget to press like and subscribe. If you see any missing videos on YouTube, head over to Bitchshoot, visit our links, and please consider supporting the channel, as we've got a lot of things to do in 2020 yet, and not nearly enough funding to accomplish those things. So thanks everybody who is contributing, and for those of you who are able, please consider doing so via the links below the video. Here's the Bitchshoot page. And I don't know if any of you noticed a few days ago, we had a little issue with our video entitled Coronal Mass Ejection, Pathetic Journalism Foments Fake News, Racism, Noose. Fake news, fake noose. See what I'm saying? And here ends today's smAshlight section. And allow me to vanish before the true ending of this content. And again, we are streaming live. It's twitch.tv/smAshomash. Let's move on with the Daily Space Weather video to thank the Smash team for sharing the content on your social media, etc. Please leave us a comment. Please share on your Facebook. We are also on Locals and on Instagram and on Gab and Minds.com and all over the internet at smAshomash. And thanks to Smash staff for all of your hard work Keep in mind, folks, your donations will give SMASH staff a raise, as well as SMASH staff, who's also my live-in girlfriend, by the way, receives 25% of what you're sending. She is a partner in the operation. And thanks everybody for flying American Smashways. Please keep your head and arms inside the Smash plane at all times while we go through a couple bonus features. Here's the intensity gram to show you Sunspot 2766. It is alpha class, and there could be some trailing ombre forming there, increasing the probability that it may go to beta class, although I don't currently see a particularly well-defined umbra, so don't be surprised if you see that sunspot get named before it's able to set. And let's take one more 48-hour SDO view and close this thing out. Again, we've got a couple more videos in the works right now. Not only the one with Colleen, but also another one with Eugene Bagashov, and shout out to both Colleen and Eugene. Colleen and I will be talking about things like athletic performance, constant glucose monitoring, cycling, etc. Eugene and I will be talking about terms defined. Socialism, yes, as Eugene is uniquely skilled in the realm of socialism, coming from the country of Belarus. Anyway, we're out, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, stare at the sun, attempt to understand the physics. Don't drink, and if you do, don't drive. And since it'll never be now again, may that solar wind be at your back, and that covidiously absent from your multiverse. And please leave us a comment if you're viewing from a different multiverse, universe, plane of existence, spaceship, solar system, etc.